How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to the channel. Glad to see you all here. It's just little old me. Is okay. How you doing, guys? Glad to see you. And we got a pretty good turnout tonight. It looks like Kick's in the house. There's a very good reason for that. But let me go over before we get into the subject I wanted to discuss today. I wanted to do something. I haven't done this before, but there's a very good reason why I want this to happen on this stream, and I decided to do it like this. I always talk about how much I love this community and how, we all stick together, right? So back in January, I had some problems when I was living in Wisconsin. It's a whole story. It's a whole thing. Well, eventually it'll all come out in the wash and everything. But at the time, I posted something about it. And everyone in the community was really supportive and really cool one particular person was extremely supportive and nice. And I told that person, I said, hey, check this out, buddy. When I get back on my feet, if it's all good, when everything's all settled, I'm going to buy some of your merch. And he said, you know what? Because I like you and everything's good and I want you to be all right. If you get back on your feet, I'll send you some of my merch. So then I got this in the mail today. All right. And I wanted to unbox it live to let all you guys see what this community is all about and how these people, how we all are together on all this. All right. Check this out. I'm gonna open it right now. With my dull knife, apparently. Cutting open the box. Whacked everything out because I don't want to dox myself. All right. I already know what's in here, but when you guys see this, I'm telling you. Yeah. All right. Is everybody ready? I didn't have a drum roll set up. Just let me know when you're ready. Because this is like, I'm so excited for this. I can't believe like the people in this community are so good. Now remember, this isn't just something that I just went out and bought, right? This guy sent this to me. All right. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but for me, especially because of the situation I was in at the time, it is extremely big for me. So let me show you what I got real quick. Hold on. Huh? Is that great or what? Look at that. Brand spanking new. I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. And like I said, it just goes to show how the community stands together and helps each other out. And, you know, I just asked for a little thing and I got it. From the man himself, thank you so very much. I saw him in here earlier. I think he's still here. You have no idea how much I appreciate this, man. This is, and it fits great. This is beautiful. In fact, yeah, that's right. Very sharp. It's actually perfect. After this, I just took it out of the box, so I didn't adjust the size. But it's actually, I have a big head, so usually these things are extremely tight on me. But I actually have more room than I thought I would. This is nice. So I'm going to keep this on for the rest of the broadcast tonight. Thank you so much, Cake. I appreciate it, man. Believe me, this is exciting. Yeah, I'm really yeah. Thank you. So anyway, let's get into it. The main thing I wanted to do this. I wanted to say thank you to Kick for it. I appreciate it, and also to show them that I got it. So what was the wait? What is this? Is there like a hold on? I'm glad you got back on your feet. I'm telling you, man, it was a hard road, but it's been worth it, and I'm so happy to be where I'm at right now, and I'm so happy that I had support from people like you. He is, and this right here is the proof of it that Kick is a good dude, man. Like, oh, look at that. Look at I could even make it a little tighter. Wow. Usually I have to put it on the last one to make it fit at all. Perfect. Oh yeah, this is great. This fits so good. I think I'm going to wear this like all the time on the regular. Yeah. Now I'm going to have to do a video where I put my sunglasses on and a mask. Shilling for the man. No, this is good stuff. But so anyway, the thing that made me want to do this all in the first place and get this whole thing going was because, I got the video I've been talking about that I'm still working on. But the other thing that happened was that I look forward to that. All right, Kick. Now I know I wasn't sure. Like, I wonder what he's going to think if I did that. But cool. In fact, I could do it right now. I got sunglasses and a mask. Do you guys want to see how that looks before I get into it? If I put the sunglasses and the mask like Kick always wears with the hat. Yeah, just for fun, I'm going to do it. Hold on. I'll be right back. This is great. This isn't teasing. This is fun. Hey guys, how you doing? Good to see y'all here. How do you do this? Every time I breathe, the air goes up through the mask and fogs up my glasses, and I can't see nothing. Wow. All right. Anyway, I got to use that like for a thumbnail in the future. All right. So, that was what I wanted to start with because it is difficult. Yeah. I figured that out in 5 seconds. But it is what it is. Sometimes you got to keep your anonymity. Although you did, we've seen your face a few times. Those of us who follow you know what you look like. Anyway, again, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Now, the main reason I wanted to do this stream, obviously, I wanted to do that when that came in the mail today. Oh, I'm like, I got to unbox that on my stream. But what would Kick do? Yeah, there you go. WWKD, what would Kick do? So what happened was the other day I was just looking through YouTube and getting all these, when you do certain things, you get recommendations, oh, you're into this, so here, watch this. If you're into this, you'll watch that. And this thing popped up on my stream called Common Law School. And it was this guy named George Gordon. And this was from 1986. Now, the whole, sovereign citizen movement thing has been around for a little while, but I didn't even really hear of it until I started doing this, seeing it on YouTube. But what this guy, I watched some of his stuff and I couldn't believe the stuff he was saying. It was like, this is it. This is where one of the places where idiots get these ideas from. Now, as far as I know, this guy isn't around anymore. In fact, from what I understand, I guess he passed away, which, rest in peace. I'm not trying to say anything bad about the guy, but you want to know where these idiots get their ideas. It's because people like him were pushing these ideas back in the day. So I'm going to show a couple pieces of some of his stuff just to get a bit of an idea of what's going on with these morons and how this all started, or at least how this idea got spread. Let me go ahead and put this on share screen for you guys. Now, you talk about Artie's corporate fiction. This is a video titled Corporate Fiction Government from the George Gordon Common Law School from 1986. Look at that. Check this out.
It has to be that way in our country, or we don't have the right form of government.
The audio is terrible, but
corporations have probably been the destructive force in our society, above all else. I could throw a few other things in there, but I think corporations have done worse than anything. And that always brings up the 16th Amendment, because with that 16th Amendment, we've got a Corporation Tax Act. And by gosh, we need to tax those corporations, because if we don't, they can get bigger than the rest of us and they can make us all slaves. That's why corporations are a danger to our society, because they're tending to make slaves out of us. And by golly, that's the way it is. We look at the law day in, day out. We find that almost every case law in the higher courts, or all courts, are based upon corporate status. So you're taking
the purpose of corporations is to make us slaves,
rather than an individual, and you're determining law based upon corporate capacity. And they're trying to apply that same corporate capacity law to persons like you and me, and it doesn't work the same way. So we've let these corporations just run rancid in our society.
Rampant,
I guess.
Okay.
So,
he caught it too.
Good. Get out there and get out of hand. We haven't taxed them to death, and we haven't controlled them enough. And so then we've created problems for ourselves, and we put ourselves under that corporate law. Well, we didn't really put ourselves there. They're trying to apply that corporate law to us. Now, let's see what it says a little bit about corporations. By both the civil and the common law, the sovereign authority can create a corporation. So a corporation then is created by a sovereign. In other words, we the people create again, through our legislature or through our Secretary of State, a corporation. We create them. We grant them certain privileges and certain immunities from taxation or eminent domain and things of that.
All right.
The power company, the utilities.
Get to the good stuff.
Give them some eminent domain.
See, this is really long. I don't remember exactly where the
corporation on its name could go borrow money, and then if it went broke, it didn't have anything, so it just dissolved, and its assets that it didn't have, of course, couldn't be paid to anybody because it didn't have them. But in the case of farmers or anything else now, if you want to borrow some money from a bank, you've got to have something of substance. You've got to have contracts, you've got to have land, you've got to have property, or something like that. So being a corporation anymore does not really have that many advantages to it. You've really given them up. So we've extended these corporations then from those affecting a public interest to all realms of business and trade and commerce and industry.
Okay,
And then we've got problems, because anytime the state grants a corporation these privileges, well, then we have a corporation with an affecting public interest. That means every corporation then is involved in the public interest, every one of them. And if they're not, then they're not a valid corporation. And that's where we have problems on the movement on the roads. That's where we have problems in private carriers and people trying to do private businesses, because one is affected with the public interest and one isn't because of the corporate status. And then we have problems with statutes being passed by, legislatures. They're passing law
here we go.
pertaining to corporate persons again, and they're trying to run around and apply that to natural persons like you and me. A good example of this in Idaho was a man down in Pocatello who at one time was engaged in a produce business. He bought and sold produce. And the state of Idaho wanted him to obtain a license to do that, a business type license. He maintained he didn't have to do that, and they took it to the Supreme Court of Idaho. And the Supreme Court upheld the man's position. And they did so because he was not engaged in credit.
All right. Thank you, King. Thank you again.
The corporate or the non-public interest, or would have given him the public interest. What he did was he bought produce. The truck came right up to his dock. He unloaded it. He paid for it immediately on the spot by check or cash. So all of his transactions were done in cash.
Anyway, I'm trying to find out where he.
So now what have you got with your corporation churches? They're an entity of the state.
Corporation churches.
So
all right, that's enough of that.
You as a corporate person or as an individual, a natural person, you grant those kind of corporations that kind of power.
But see how he keeps saying natural person? He's already starting that whole thing back in
Now here's
'86.
where we get into a real problem with corporations on holding lands. We have Boise Cascade up here. It's a corporation, and it does hold lands. And then we look at our municipal governments, such as our state, our federal government, say, well, are they a corporate entity?
No.
Well, they certainly act like them, and they have a certain corporate capacity. They are a municipal corporation. The city of Boise here is a municipal corporation.
Citation needed.
Yeah, it's a corporation, so it's got a charter granted to it from the state. Can it hold lands? You bet. Well, the state is also another political entity that has a corporate type status. Even though it's not a corporation in the sense it applies to the Secretary of State, it has certain, I hate to use the word rights, but privileges and certain responsibilities that are the same as being a corporation. So therefore, they have power to hold land. Your states can't hold land.
McDonald's is one of the biggest landholders in the world. So what?
The federal government, can the federal government own land? Well, of course they can. But they can't possess it. It's another problem. They can't possess all land. And that gets you in another problem. Ownership is possession. For example, the federal land in the western states is quite extensive, but the government is not.
See this guy.
8 contracts that you're in.
These are too long, and there was a specific one I was looking for
every day.
Part of it is that because these are all numbered.
And the 10th point to the Communist Manifesto calls for the free education of all.
Let's see, where's the one I wanted to show where it's talking about traffic laws? Dagnabbit. I'm sorry, guys. I don't think I played the wrong video. It's just it's because that one is so long. I watched it once, but I didn't remember how deep it was before he started getting into the good stuff. So let me find a shorter one that gives a little bit better idea of where these idiots, again, get their ideas and why. All right, let's see. We have too many rights, the function of government. Oh, here we go. This one's long too, but this one's nice because this really gets into what we're doing here. Let's see. Oh, come on. Let's go to this one, this one, this one, and this one. Yeah, this one really pissed me off when I watched it the first time yesterday. So I'm gonna play this. If I have to, fast forward a little, I will. But I want to get to the part where the whole idea of these guys and it reminded me so much of what Delete Laws is doing now. He tells this big long story about this horrible scenario, and all of it is just a story. Like, he does not state one fact, and almost every fact that he states, I looked up and he's completely wrong about. So let's get into this one. Let's see, where is it? Right there.
Now, the more of these horseless carriages and automobiles that
Oh wait, let me
pack the
rewind a little
roads,
bit,
then
because
the more accidents, and therefore
okay,
explain
here.
to you why it is that some people need driver's licenses. There was a time when we didn't have them. And when you didn't have
Listen
one,
to this guy.
and you were driving along in your old car, your 1910 Peerless or your 1910 Model T Ford, you didn't have a driver's license. And you were driving as a matter of right, using liberty under the Constitution to go from point A to point B.
Citation needed.
And then somebody came along and said, gosh, wouldn't it be interesting or nifty or nice? And I call this now the insurance scam. And so somebody went to an insurance company, or let's say it was a salesman in the insurance company, and he goes in, and naturally all corporate business is interested in making money, and somebody had to say, well, how can we increase profits and cut costs? What we need here, let me make a suggestion. I'll tell you what we need. We need to insure all these new horseless carriages. Yeah, if we could insure all these horseless carriages, boy, there's a burgeoning market there. I predict that we're going to move from horses and wagons to automobiles. And so the man...
Okay, so now right there, right off the bat, I want to start by saying, what did he just say, right? He said that, well, around 1910 or so, when people started getting cars, the insurance companies decided to pull a scam where they would make people get licenses, right? So obviously he's just, and then he goes, and then I guess some guy just went to them and said, hey, let's make it that you have to get a driver's license. 1899, the mayor of Troy, New York, writes a letter granting permission to operate a horseless carriage on city streets, and Chicago also did a similar, almost up to required a similar certification to operate a steamer. Okay, so that was in 1899. Right, so it was already you needed a license to do a horseless carriage or a steam engine. Then in 1900, Anne Rainsford obtained a steam engineer's license, which entitled her a four-wheeled vehicle powered by steam or gas. So the first woman to get a driver's license was in 1900. So already we know that this guy has no idea what he's talking about, and he's just making up stories. So let's continue with his made up story that he states as if it's true.
He goes out and he starts selling policies on horseless carriages and automobiles. Now, the more of these horseless carriages and automobiles that pack the roads, then the more accidents and therefore the more claims, right? So somewhere, let's say around 1910, let's start out, we're going to start selling insurance policies in 1900 to people who have horseless carriages. About 1910, you know, you go into the boardroom of the insurance company, and what do you see? Somebody's in there saying, how can we cut costs and increase profits? You know, I noticed the biggest claims problem that we have are these automobiles that come to intersections, and one of them doesn't stop or doesn't see the other one, and he goes into the intersection, and bang, there's a crash in the intersection. I think what we need is the stop sign law. If we had a law that put stop signs at these intersections, I think that we could cut down on those accidents, and that would cut down on the claims and the losses at the insurance claims window, and that would increase our
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
People have horseless
What do you say
carriages.
about stop signs?
1910, you know, you go into the boardroom of the insurance company, and what do you see? Somebody's in there saying, how can we cut costs and increase profits? You know, I noticed the biggest claims problem that we have are these automobiles that come to intersections, and one of them doesn't stop or doesn't see the other one, and he goes into the intersection, and bang, there's a crash in the intersection. I think what we need is the stop sign law. If we had a law that put stop signs at these intersections, I think that we could cut down on those accidents, and that would cut down on the claims and the losses at the insurance claims window, and that would increase our profits, and it would make us more profit.
All right. So he just claimed that in 1910, someone went to the insurance company and talked them into creating stop sign laws so that they can get more money off of the claims. So let's see. 1915, the first stop sign was installed in Blair, Nebraska, and another in Detroit, Michigan. The stop signs didn't become a standard until 1922, and the law wasn't passed until 1935. So once again, this guy is just talking out of his butt. Also, he's about to get into this whole thing about his whole point, and you're going to see, he already mentioned it, but you're going to see as it is going forward that he's going to talk about how the this whole thing was an insurance scam in 1910, right? Gilbert J. Loomis holds the distinction of being the first person to buy an automotive insurance policy in 1897. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. It's a completely made up story. He's inventing to push his narrative.
Well, how are we going to affect that? Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll go up to the legislature and we'll lobby these legislators up here, and we'll show them a bunch of real pictures of death and carnage. We'll show them pictures of arms that are cut off by people that went through the windshield in these accidents. And we'll lobby and we'll tell them, for the health, safety, and welfare of the people, under the police powers, we need these stop signs. Pretty soon you got stop sign laws. All right? Now, that cuts down on accidents there. Now what do you need? Well, along about 1920, let's say, somebody comes in and they say, well, now what can we do to increase profits and cut costs? So the insurance industry says, gosh, that's interesting. Well, let's see. What's the biggest single thing that costs us money? Well, these automobiles drive awful fast. So we need some traffic regulation. We got to have a line down the middle of the road, and we've got to have speed limits, and we've got to have signs that show us curves. And we're going to call these traffic regulations. Oh, how do we get those passed? Well, we go to the legislature and we show them a lot of pictures of death and destruction and carnage on the highway. And we'll do it in the name of the people, to protect the people's health, safety, and welfare under the police powers. Oh, and we're doing it with the noblest of intentions. Okay, so now you go up to the legislature. This is the insurance industry. They show them the picture, and they have the public hearings, and they go through all the processes, and now they pass these laws called regulations. All right, well, nobody objects too much to that. And so pretty soon somebody comes along and says, now, how can we increase profits and cut costs? Well, we notice that people between the ages of 15 and 25 have the most accidents and the highest rates of claims. What we need is a system where we can keep records on these drivers. And what we'll do is we'll propose a licensing law, and we'll claim that people who aren't licensed are a menace on the road, and that what we need is the licensing to establish qualifications for competency.
All right. Did you guys catch that? He said that the reason driver's license were invented in the 1920s, which we already established, the first driver's license was before cars were even invented. It was to operate a steam train or a horseless carriage. Now he's saying that the only reason driver's license were invented was so that the government could use it to track people. The evil, nasty government trying to keep tabs on everybody by making them get a license. This guy is literally just making up a story with absolutely no research at all. It took me 5 minutes to find all these facts on the internet, and he's just making stuff up. It's just a bunch of crap. And this was back in the 80s. And then you wonder where all these sovereign citizens and frauditors and all these idiots get these ideas from. It's from people like this guy.
Who's going to argue about that? You don't want incompetent drivers out there on the road, do you? All right, so we passed the licensing law at some point in time, and then we start to keep records. And what we'll do to get people to go down and get these licenses, we'll offer lower insurance rates to licensed drivers and higher insurance rates to unlicensed drivers. Well, 10 years goes by and we come up to 1930, let's say, or something like that. And now we've got this uniform licensing law, coast to coast, border to border, wall to wall. Everybody's got a license. Now what we need to do is we've got to have stricter enforcement of the traffic regulations. And so what we need to propose is that we codify these and call them misdemeanors, and we've got to dish out some punishments for these traffic offenders who are killing people by speeding and drunk driving and doing these violations of law. So we'll codify those. Here again, here's your insurance industry going into the legislature, and they go through the hearings, and they never do this in the name of profits to protect the claims window of the insurance industry. They always do this in the name of health, safety, and welfare.
Here's another one that he was talking about a minute ago, is this idea that, well, the insurance companies noticed in the 1930s that the most dangerous drivers were teenagers. So let's make up these bogus tests that they have to take to give them an excuse to give them their license. 1959, after 240 people die on South Dakota's roads, a written exam is implemented for licensing processes. It implied consent also, clearing the way for sobriety tests, and the minimum age was 14 to get a license. So, once again, not only is his year off, but he's just completely making this stuff up.
Police powers. We're doing this to protect you, Mr. John Q. Public, from those drunk drivers out there, those wicked, evil, terrible, awful people. Okay? Now, next step is, now we've got everybody licensed. Now what we need is the mandatory insurance law. And the reason we need a mandatory insurance law is this. There's these irresponsible people out there, and they drive their cars, and they run into people, and then they don't have any insurance, and they can't pay the medical bills, and they can't pay the hospital, and they can't pay for the damages they cause. So what we need is a universal insurance program.
Sounds good to me.
What we're going to do is we'll pass a law, and we'll put this in the traffic code. Now here in Idaho, it's called Title 49, and it's called the Mandatory Insurance Law.
Good.
You've got to carry proof of insurance, and you have to have insurance on your car.
Yep.
All right. Now we'll carry that a step further. You know, how do we increase profits and cut costs? Say this is 1950 or 60. I can remember how this came down. What we need to do is to educate our youth. We need to take traffic safety into the schools and have a driver's education program. We've got to get to these young people and teach them.
Driver's ed was terribly evil, the invention of driver's ed.
How to get insurance, in other words,
Horrible.
in short, how to train these young people to be slaves when they're age 14. And so you license the kid when he's 14 or 15 or 16. You make it a requirement to graduate from high school that he have this driver's training and driver's education. He gets out of school. You've never taught him anything about the Constitution. You've never taught him anything about rights, inalienable rights. And so now we've got a perfect slave.
Perfect slaves. Okay, so what he just said, right, is that I can't believe this guy, and that people bought into this and still do. So what did he just say? He said that driver's ed was invented to brainwash kids into becoming slaves. That's the reason driver's ed exists. It has nothing to do with teaching them how to drive. It's teaching them how to become slaves to the insurance companies. And he also claimed that so when they graduate school, They've never learned anything about the Constitution. When I went to school, we had to take a Constitution test. It was mandatory for all students. They don't teach kids about the Constitution. Now, history and social studies and none of those classes existed. According to this guy, the only class that existed at any school ever was driver's ed, which was created to create slaves. Yeah, I buy that. Oh, it's unbelievable.
Created and designed by his government to be a perfect taxpayer. All right, now, if he violates or breaks any rules or regulations, what happens?
He gets a fine, maybe?
Traffic court and you fine him in a penal statute. Use a penal or a penalty or a contractual penalty for violating the terms and conditions of the contract. Now, on our streets and highways today, we have a virtual police state tyranny.
Police state tyranny.
The police stop you. They can search your car. They don't need any Fourth Amendment warrant whatsoever.
No, but they do need probable
cause.
cause.
Arrest you and throw you in jail for drunk driving, and then you can worry about how you're going to prove that you weren't drunk, whether you are or not. And listen, I can categorize. And
there are sobriety tests.
Tear-jerking horror stories of people that have been entrapped and charged with felonies and put in the penitentiary. Did they hurt anybody? No, nobody was damaged.
So what was the felony you're talking about?
Here they are in prison for drunk driving.
Okay.
Maybe the second or third time.
Second or third time.
The guy has never had an accident. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a moment, and I'll show you how that works.
Oh, when he gets into this, I get
traffic court's sole function and purpose is
What's up, Unclean? What's up, Hank?
The profitability of the insurance industry. It isn't there for any other purpose.
See that?
If you know of any, you can let me know, would you? I'd like to know what it is. Now,
well, okay, you'd like to know what it is? Well, let me tell you what it is, buddy. You said it yourself about 6 times. For the health, safety, and welfare of the population. For those of you who just joined, I found this old guru from the 1980s who's given these lectures about how the government is a corporate fiction and how about we're people, not persons. And right now we're listening to him talking about how it's traveling, not driving. And seeing that, I mean, I've heard, stories about how this whole sovereign citizen nonsense started back in the day, but this is 1986. This idiot is saying this stuff that these morons still talk about today. And it's people like him that spread these ideas. And I've already gone through, and I'll keep going as we go through, but everything he's saying is a lie. Everything. Like, he keeps stating all these things as if they're facts, but just 5 minutes of research on the internet, and I was able to prove that all of his facts are wrong. He's just making this stuff up, but stating it as if it's a fact. And the most recent one he just said is that all of the traffic laws and all of the drunk driving laws and all of that exists only for the purpose of making money for the insurance companies and to keep us as slaves to the tyrannical government, which obviously is a bunch of horse shit. Sorry, I had to say it because it's true.
Goals, are altruistic and magnanimous.
Yes, they are.
We don't want people killed on the roads.
Right.
And so we've got this big kick now. We're going to put all drunk drivers in prison. And I've got to lay this story on you because, when it comes to logic, reason, and common sense, sometimes what I hear up here in my legislature just befuddles me.
What you're saying befuddles me.
I saw the other day up in the legislature. I went up there, and here in Idaho, they're going to pass this strict drunk driving law. The second time you're caught drunk driving, you don't have to kill anybody, have an accident, or do anything. Just go get a few drinks in you and drive down the road. The policeman stops you, gives you a ticket, go and plead guilty, pay a $300 fine, come back. Let it happen again, we're going to charge you with a felony. And here's what they're proposing.
So obviously this is 86, so he's talking about stuff that wasn't necessarily proposing.
Suggesting that you listen to here's what some of the testimony was about. This one lady gets up and she says, now listen, there was 52,000 people killed last year. 26,000 of those deaths were alcohol related.
Yeah.
And we've just got to do something about these drunk drivers because, boy, I'm telling you that they're just killing people and there's just carnage on the road, and we just got to do something about these lethal weapons called automobiles driving down the road
Yep.
with these drunks in them and these alcoholics and these wicked and evil people.
See, he keeps throwing that in,
So I
wicked and
listened to all
evil.
this.
Who said
I
wicked and
listened
evil?
to 18 people testify in 2 hours and a half,
Right.
and every one of those people had a financial interest in alcoholism.
Oh, this part is great.
There were
Listen to this.
nonprofit corporations that did drug and alcohol evaluations. There was the Attorney General, who's a part of the law enforcement growth industry. He
All
prosecuted.
right, what is he talking about? Let me get you caught up for the people who just joined us. All right, so this guy just keeps making up all these random stories to support his narrative, and now he's talking about at the time. This was 1986, so at the time, not everybody had drunk driving laws, and he was talking about they're proposing to throw people in jail if they get caught drunk driving twice in a row, and he's making it sound like all of these drunk driving laws were created not to protect people from drunk drivers, not to protect the drunk drivers themselves from getting themselves hurt in accidents, but his story is that they were created just to keep us slaves to the tyrannical government and to give money to the insurance companies. That's his big beef with the whole thing. So let's get back into him talking his nonsense.
People and has about 50 prosecutors that prosecute drunk drivers. Then there's the prison out here. They've got to warehouse these criminals, and they've got beds to fill so that they've got guards to employ guarding people out there. And there's the insurance industry, of course, and then the medical industry is interested in these drunk drivers also. They make money off of alcohol evaluation. And then there's these alcohol clinics, where you go in and draw out. Not one drunk came in to testify. Didn't see one.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there, I'm just watching all this.
All right, so wait a minute. What did he just say? What did he just say? He said, I sat there and watched the testimony of all these people who want the drunk driving laws to pass. There's people complaining about drunk drivers killing people. There's people complaining about how dangerous it is when people drive drunk. There's all these people testifying about how bad it is. But I didn't see any drunks come in there and testify. Like that's what he expected. A bunch of drunk people to show up and say, hey, I drive drunk. Man, this is my thing, man. Yeah, this is what I do. This is my thing. Yeah, I'm drunk, man. Like, seriously? I didn't see any drunks come in there. If they're sober, how do you know that they're not an alcoholic? How do you know that they don't have a problem? How could you possibly know that unless they came in drunk? And who's going to show up to testify to the state legislature drunk unless they're a freaking idiot? That kind of stuff didn't start happening until now with YouTube. Like that idiot going in his underwear. Whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. He's talking about common law in a republic. Oh, axiom. Okay, yeah. Anyway, he's making up stories is what he's doing. All right, so here we go.
And I'm going, God, 26,000. Okay, well, wait a minute. I sat there for a little bit, and my mind works differently than bureaucrats, works differently than politicians. And I'm sitting there, and I'm saying, now, let me see if I understand this. For some reason, we've got to pass legislation and call drunkenness a felony.
That's not.
And we're going to lock this guy up in prison for 5 years. That's right. Felonies, 5 years in jail. Do you know what it costs to put a man in prison for 5 years in Idaho? $15,000 a year.
Being drunk is not a felony, by the way.
15, 30, 45, 60,
I could get drunk right now. On the internet, I wouldn't go to jail for it.
My God, do you understand how much money that is? You got this drunk out here, and some of these people are testifying that alcoholism is a illness. It's a disease.
This is 86. People didn't know for sure yet.
And we're going to put these sick people out here in the penitentiary for 5 years for $75,000. Right away, I'm saying, wait a minute. I could send that guy to Harvard twice for that kind of money and turn him into a medical doctor or a lawyer or something for that kind of money. You know, listen, if I got a guy driving down the road drunk and I wanted to get him off the road, why don't, instead of paying $75,000 to lock him up in prison, why don't we give him $50,000 and tell him to go to Brazil? He'd save $25,000 and
Okay. So wait a minute. Is this guy actually trying to say that? Well, first of all, he's claiming that they made being drunk a felony, which of course isn't true. And he's saying that you get arrested for drunk driving several times. We're talking specific. Oh, and by the way, first of all, before I continue, I noticed a couple people who came in late complimented me on my hat. This was the unboxing I did earlier. This was a gift to me from Kick, and he was in here to see the unboxing. It was great. He was a very good guy. Anyway, so what this guy is trying to say, and by the way, Axiom, if we lived in the world he's talking about, I would be scared. I'd be scared because what did he just say? If you catch someone who's drunk, that means they're sick. Well, we shouldn't lock them up in jail. We should extradite them to another country. Yeah, that's way better. Just throw them out of the country because they were drunk. What is this guy talking about? He's an idiot, but he talks like he's smart, but he's not. He knows poo-poo caca about anything.
we'd get rid of the guy. And we'd make money, and he'd be happier down there. He'd have $50,000 to blow.
He'd be happier in Brazil. Nice.
Okay, we got to have law and order, and we got to get these drunks off the road. So we got 26,000 of them alcohol related. So I'm sitting here saying, you know, my father was killed in a head-on traffic crash in 1970. And I'll tell you, I was really upset about that. This fella
I would think
crossed
so.
the center line of the road about 4:30 in the afternoon in broad daylight, trying to pass a truck, and he didn't have enough clearance. And he ran right into my father, and he killed him. My father went right through the windshield and broke his neck and killed him. And I'll tell you what really galls me, the guy was stone sober. Didn't have a drink.
All right. So, okay. This guy's father died in a car accident. I'm sorry, but he was sober when he got in an accident. I don't think anyone, at least I've never heard anyone make the claim that car accidents only happen to drunk people. I've never heard anyone say that. The odds of you getting in an accident when you're drunk are much higher. Now watch, as he goes forward, he's going to make the case that getting in an accident when you're drunk is actually lower because drunk drivers are more careful. Like you'll see, he gets into this whole thing about how being drunk when you drive is actually safer than driving when you're drunk. This guy is absolutely nonsensical.
He helped my dad, and he killed him. So right away, I'm sitting here in this committee, and I'm listening to this diatribe, and I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. What is it? Listen to this. 26,000 are alcohol related. Well, then 26,000 of them aren't alcoholic related, are they? Why don't we fund a study for the 26,000 that are non-alcoholic related and find out how many of the 26,000 drivers who were not drunk had blonde hair and blue eyes? And find out if there's a correlation between blonde hair and blue eyes and traffic accidents and deaths on the highway.
So now he's trying to compare the government to Nazis.
That much sense to me.
No, it's completely different in every way.
All the testimony was how many of those drunks that were alcohol, or those deaths that were alcohol related, were caused by the drunks. You know, there was a famous Supreme Court case came down in New Mexico about 10 years ago.
Wow.
And this farmer is driving down the road in his old battered pickup, just bombed out of his mind. He was so drunk, he couldn't walk. That's probably why he was driving.
Oh.
And he had a bottle of whiskey about 2/3 empty in the jockey box. And he's driving down the road, and there's an accident. There's a head-on crash. A doctor, his wife, and his 2 children from Houston, Texas, who were going on holiday to Los Angeles, killed. Farmer survived.
The drunk survived the crash.
It usually happens. The drunk survives, and this wonderful family, a man, his wife, and his 2 children killed. The problem
Okay.
here was that the doctor fell asleep, crossed the center line, and hit the farmer head on. Now, let me ask you, is that wreck and that death alcohol related? Oh, yeah, you bet. Farmer's drunk?
Okay. If the guy was literally so drunk that he couldn't walk, I don't know this specific scenario he's talking about. I don't know anything about that particular case. I tried to look it up. I couldn't find anything. For all I know, the guy's making it up. But whatever the point is, we don't know. And he's just assuming, like everything he's saying is just an assumption that maybe the drunk driver got hit by the dude who fell asleep at the wheel, which, yeah, the guy who falls asleep at the wheel obviously caused a crash. But if the other guy he crashed into was he said himself so drunk he literally couldn't walk, maybe he could have avoided the accident if his judgment wasn't so impaired. And he didn't get hurt. That family died, though. I don't know. I wasn't there, but guess what? Neither was this guy.
But is the farmer the cause of the accident, or is the farmer who was drunk the victim? And what none of these people tell you is that, well, yeah, who's ever funded a study to find out whether or not drunkenness is the cause of the accidents that cost these lives? They'll cite you a few cases where the guy is drunk, ran the red light, ran into this blonde-haired, blue-eyed,
There he goes again with
woman
trying to
just
make it
out
sound
of
like a
college
Nazi
or
thing.
whatever, and ruined her life. And you know, we got to do something about this guy because it's the fifth time. Well, maybe
Fifth
so.
time? Yeah, definitely so.
That's 1 out of 25,000. You know, there's still another 25,999 that we've got to analyze. But for some reason, we want to zero in on this one group over here. Now, why do we want to zero in on one group?
Gee, I
To
wonder.
protect the claims window of the insurance industry.
No, wrong.
I don't
Citation
care if you
needed.
drive down the road drunk. My father never took a sober breath for the last 20 years, and he never had an accident drunk. He had several wrecks sober, never had a wreck drunk. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you that you should drive drunk. I don't know whether you should or not. I'm just telling you that I'm suspicious when I see people testify before a Senate and House Joint Committee in my state trying to get some kind of legislation passed, and they're sitting here railing against some particular group of people that have this or that particular financial motivation involved. Listen, if you're running a nonprofit corporation in Idaho and it's to rehabilitate Alcoholics Anonymous, or, you know, Alcoholics Anonymous was in there testifying. These people work for these organizations, and while the organization's tax exempt, they get their salaries and make their livings doing that, don't they? Well, if they're getting their salaries and making their livings doing that, then they have a financial interest involved, don't they? And John Q. Public, the average drunk, he doesn't make any money off of it, so he doesn't go up and testify.
All right. So now he's saying that. Oh, man, this guy. So now he's saying that Alcoholics Anonymous doesn't exist to try and help alcoholics. They exist because that's their job. So they have a financial interest in it. So, of course, they're just doing it to rip people off and take their money. And there were no drunks testifying. Again, he says that he reiterates that point. And again, I ask, how does he know? If he's sitting in this is what he said. If he's sitting in the gallery watching these people testify, how the hell does he know if the people that are testifying are alcoholics or not? How does he know? How could he? He can't. He's just making assumptions again and pulling stuff out of his butt. And these are the people, again, remember, this is 1986. That's why I wanted to show this to you guys, because all this stuff came from somewhere. It started in the 70s and it got pushed by people like this idiot. And now it's everywhere. It's insane.
Oh, now I see how that goes. All right, let's carry this on a step further. The purpose for having driver's licenses is to regiment all of the people into a little group
Wrong.
that can be regulated under the police powers
Wrong.
separate from their constitutional rights. Now, I
Wrong.
said, I'm not really concerned about you driving drunk.
Citation needed.
I've only got a 50% chance of being killed if you're drunk. I still stand the same 50% chance of getting killed if you're sober. And I'm just as dead whether you're drunk or sober. It doesn't make any difference whether a drunk kills me or a sober guy kills me. And what you're doing is creating this police state environment, giving the police these broad new powers to set up, and they're talking about setting up roadblocks. I mean, these people are so off the wall when it comes to our constitutional guarantees. They're so emotionally involved in their religious philosophy or their moral philosophy, whatever it is.
Now, you see that? And now that's another one. A lot of these frauditors and sovereigns love to do their thing at, mandatory roadblocks, right? This is 1986. He's talking about, and they're even talking about roadblocks. Like, how dare they try to violate our rights by creating roadblocks? But you know what? I've driven through several of those in my lifetime. And guess what? If this guy's right, and if Chili Con Carnival Con Man Delete Laws is right, and if all these idiots are right, then what happened was when I stopped at that roadblock, the cops should have searched my car. They should have sent the dogs in. They should have arrested me, put me in torture cuffs, beat me, and threw me in a dungeon. But somehow, none of those things happened. I wonder why. Maybe because I wasn't doing anything wrong? Oh, these people, man, I don't understand it.
But they want to set up roadblocks to run all these drunks off the road. I'll bet you there's more people that drink in this country than don't drink. And if all you people out there that drink don't want to be involved in this massive masochist type police state Gestapo type society where we're going to just create this communist one world government right here in our own land for the sole purpose of eradicating drunks.
Eradicating drunks. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do.
The insurance company probably has figured that if they could get rid of a certain number of drunk drivers or drinking drivers or whatever it may be, they may save a little money. I don't know who came in. Somebody came into the boardroom and they said, hey, I'll tell you, these
citation needed
are costing us a lot of money at the claims window.
Prove
what
it.
We need to do is do something about them. And so the president and a few other people get out there and they start beating the tom-toms, and then they start going to the legislature and they start getting these laws passed. Now, personally, I don't really care. I don't have a driver's license. I don't come under Title 49, so I don't have to be concerned about it. But boy, let me tell you, all you licensed people out there better get real concerned about it.
And just so you know, like, I don't know if you guys missed it earlier when I was playing his other video, what he just said. I don't have a driver's license because I don't fall under Title 49. See, he's one of these nationals, and the laws don't apply to him because he's not an American citizen. He's an American national. Just thought I'd point that out.
If I'm concerned about you with your $100 car running into my $30,000 Porsche, I don't need any legislation to protect me from you. If I'm real concerned about it, it's up to me to go out and insure my $30,000 Porsche against irresponsible people who do not have insurance and who are poor and cannot pay for my $30,000 Porsche. And if you're the poor guy and you've got the $100 car, are you real concerned about my $30,000 Porsche crashing into your 1962 Buick Skylark and wrecking it? So you go out and pay $100 and you buy another car, right? You're not real concerned about it. And besides that,
all right. Now, did you guys catch that? Seriously, like, why should you have car insurance if I have a $30,000 car and you have a $100 car? If I hit you, it's only a $100 car. Just go out and buy another one. Really? We're supposed to take you seriously when you say stuff like that? And now Axiom's bringing up the 14th Amendment. What does that have to do with what this idiot's talking about?
I got a $30,000 portion. The wreck's my fault. I probably have $100 and can probably pay you, right? I don't know where this logic comes from, but we citizens don't go out buying insurance policies for people for fear that, or compelling them to buy insurance policies for fear that when they die, they'll leave their family on welfare, do we? And if government can compel you to buy an insurance policy, can't they compel you to buy a water bed, or compel you to buy a certain type of carpet, or compel you to buy a TV set? The government cannot compel you into a contract against your will and over your objection pursuant to Article 1, Section 10. Well, then how do they do that? By statute under Title 49 in the Traffic Code. Well, it's easy. You volunteered to do that. You got a driver's license in your pocket. How can the government come in and tell you that you have to have a building permit and that you have to build your house in a certain way, a certain method?
What?
And it's going to be inspected and it's going to be regulated. And if you don't do this, you're a criminal. We'll put you in jail. Right over here in Emmett, Idaho, a fellow went to jail for 5 days for building his own house without a building permit. Was there ever a time?
What does that have to do with driver's
go out
licenses?
and build something on your own property and you didn't need your government's permission? Yeah, there was. It was when the citizens were responsible for their actions and not someone else. Yeah, that's right. When you're ready to become responsible for your own actions, then you can be free. Because incompetent people are not responsible for their own actions, are they? An incompetent person has a guardian.
Always, right?
Don't your children at 10 years old have a guardian?
10 years old don't drive.
Kid that you'll come in at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and if you don't, there's a penal statute here called a belt, and we'll whip you until you get it straight.
Oh, whipping kids with a belt? Yeah.
Do you know that in America today, we have a police state environment that we Americans bought and paid for? The Poles and the Czechs can complain about their slavery being enforced upon them at gunpoint by the Russians. But not us Americans. You didn't have anybody come over here with a gun and force you to go get a driver's license or compel you to go get a building permit or compel you into this mercantile equity. We volunteered for it. We bought and paid for it. We went to the insurance company and paid them dollars and cents to take our freedom from us. Now let me show you how this works with the Garrett. I like to use Garrett truck lines because they come in and out of Boise, Idaho, and they're pretty much all over the United States. Here's how mercantile equity works. Outside here, we have what's called a right-of-way. That's a road. That belongs to the people. Garrett is a paper entity, and Garrett's a corporation. They have no natural and inalienable rights. So when Garrett wants to use that road out there, remember, the sovereign is the legislature. The sovereign legislature created Garrett. Garrett is then using that road for profit and gain, aren't they?
Oh, there we go into the profit. Need a profit for a license.
And if they use it in privilege, they have to pay us, the sovereign citizens, a tax for the privilege of using that thing in interstate commerce. We, the citizens, own it. We don't pay for it. We own the thing. And we don't want to pay for something that we already own, now do we? You don't pay to park your car in your garage. You pay to park it in somebody else's garage because it's a privilege, but to park it in your garage isn't. When Garrett uses that road, it's a privilege to them, and they pay tax on it.
Right.
Well, let's start back about 1900. When a man owned his house, he owned the land, he owns his car, he doesn't have to pay tax on it. He owns it in fee simple or in allodial absolute title. Today, you don't know too many people that do that. People live now.
Oh, they buy a mortgage, yeah.
They don't own their homes. They have an equitable interest in them. They call themselves homeowners, and that's a misnomer. I don't know of very many homeowners. When I was a youngster, 10 years old,
what does this have to do with driver's licenses?
Owned their own home. I mean, that thing was bought and paid for. In 1940, $3,000 would build a nice 3-bedroom house. And when a man got the $3,000, he went out and he built the house and he owned the thing in fee simple. All right, now we don't do that. Today we go out and put $3,000 down of our inflated Federal Reserve notes and we mortgage or indenture ourselves to specific performance for 30 years. Well, Corporations
All right.
have no rights, and corporations can be taxed for the privilege.
Hold on, because this guy's just going to keep talking nonsense anyway. But I'm looking at the chat and I'm seeing some kind of interesting stuff going on. And let me ask you guys in there what you're talking about. Okay, right there, boom, Alan H. Just now. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? We are United States citizens as soon as we're born here, whether we like it or not. Thank God. That's a wonderful thing. That means that we have all the rights and privileges laid out in the Constitution. It's our birthright. What's so bad about that? Why is that a problem to you guys? Like, well, because then the cops could tell us not to murder people. Well, then don't murder people. Well, they could tell me not to slam my car into kids on the side of the road. Well, then don't slam your car into kids on the side of the road. Like, what are you talking about? What's the problem if the police have power to enforce the law? But, well, it says you can't pass any laws that are unconstitutional. Right. You can't. So what? If it's a law, it's obviously not unconstitutional. If it was, the Supreme Court would step in and get rid of it. So what's the problem? And if there are laws that are unconstitutional, take it to court, bring it up to the Supreme Court, and see what they have to say. There's a way to do things in this country, a proper way to do things. Walking up to cops with your camera and saying, fuck you, you stupid pig, kiss my ass. That's not the way to do it. Assholes. All right, what's that? The Constitution does not recognize the Bill of Rights. What? Barron versus states are not obliged to hold up the Bill of Rights. For some reason, I don't think that case just says that. For some reason, I have a feeling that there's a case law behind that has something to do with something other than that one tiny little sentence. Because, seriously? Yeah, of course the amendments are constitutional. That's why it doesn't make any sense. If you renounce your U.S. citizenship, you have to have citizenship in another country. Yes, they are. Nope. Look it up. Look what up. Barron versus Baltimore. All right, let's look it up. Let's do this. Let's find out what we can about this, what this guy's trying to tell me. Barron versus Baltimore. All right, hold on. I'm reading. Since the early 20th century, the Supreme Court has used the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment, which was interpreted to have the same meaning as the Fifth Amendment, to apply to most of the Bill of Rights to the state's selective incorporation. Therefore, as to most of the Bill of Rights, Barron and its progeny have been circumvented, though not technically overruled. What does it say? To demonstrate constitutional limits do not apply to states unless expressly stated. Okay. It doesn't say that states are not obligated to uphold the Bill of Rights. It says that the state itself, in other words, it doesn't say that the state can make a law that goes against the Constitution. The 10th Amendment itself does not allow the state to make laws that go against the Constitution, but it does allow states to make laws. But the state itself, what it's saying is, let me double check and make sure I get the wording just right. No language can be more general. Okay, the third clause, for example, declares that no bill of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed. No language can be more general. Yet the demonstration is complete and it applies solely to the government of the United States. In other words, the federal government itself has to follow the Bill of Rights. That's what it's saying. A state can't make any laws that go against the Bill of Rights, but the Bill of Rights is written for the federal government itself. The federal government cannot make a law that will do this. The federal government cannot make a law that will do that. And furthermore, if you look at the 10th Amendment, the states cannot make any laws that break federal laws. States are not obliged to uphold the Bill of Rights. They make their own, as long as they do not go against the Constitution. But they do. Well, then you need to bring that to SCOTUS and have them make a decision on it to see if it's unconstitutional or not. Again, I'm not saying that the law is perfect. I've never said that. But what I am saying is that, once again, arguing with cops on the street corner, making videos about torture cuffs and dungeons and trying to grift people out of their money and trying to get paid by having bad interactions with the cops on purpose, that's not how you change the laws that are wrong. There are proper venues in which to do it. And this whole, I'm not an American citizen because I said I'm a person, not a human or whatever, nonsense. What does the 14th Amendment say? We are subject to state authority. Yes. And? Okay. We're subject to the state's authority. But sometimes that doesn't work. Yeah. Oh, I wish they had something, that you could do about that, like some kind of like an appeal. They should have some sort of like appeal. Oh, wait, they do. Oh, maybe you could appeal it to a higher court, so that if you think that they're doing, oh, wait, we already have that. I wonder, are there any things in any of these laws or regulations or rules or anything to give anyone any kind of, I don't know, like maybe they could fight it and appeal it and get to the Supreme Court with it to make a decision on it? Gee, I don't know. That'd be nice if we had something like that. Oh, wait, we do. All right, guys, listen. Just for those of you in the chat who don't know, Axioms Revolt, and even for Axioms Revolt, I actually kind of like you because we've talked in my community tab a bit, and obviously we disagree on a fundamental level, but he's like, just look at what he's saying. He's not saying anything rude or bad. He wants to know. So I get it. So I don't have a problem with him. Let's see. It's not a right if we have to buy it. What rights do we have to buy? Do I have to pay for freedom of speech? Let me see. Hold on. How much does this cost me? Kiss my ass. Well, that didn't cost me anything. So freedom of speech is free. Let's see. Freedom of press. Oh, wait. This is, according to the Auditors, this is press because I'm publishing it right now. So that's covered. Let's see. What right do we have to buy? Let's see. All the meanings of subject apply. FBI, open up. Yeah, they're knocking on my door right now. Oh, no, I screwed up. That would actually be like, I mean, yeah, it would suck, but it would be kind of hilarious if I was on here like, man, we could say whatever we want. Nothing's going to happen. Boom, boom, boom. FBI, open. Oh, my God. I guess not. They were right all along. What if I want to boycott? Boycotting is not illegal. Boycott what? The government? The laws? What are you talking about? Boycotting what? It's not illegal to boycott something. Okay. Let's say I decided I wanted to boycott McDonald's. I'm not talking about other countries. I'm talking about the United States of America. You want to talk about other countries, and we can talk about all these terrible things. A lot of these things do happen in other countries. But I don't see any of these idiots doing that. Well, I mean, I guess there's some of them in the UK and some in Canada, and we're starting to get them in Australia too. But in general, like, you're not going to see anyone doing First Amendment audits in North Korea. You're not going to see anyone doing it anywhere else. That just cost me $10. Yeah. How dare you? You guys need to start giving me super chats to pay for all these fines. I'm going to have to pay for speaking my mind on the internet. Oh no, what a terrible person I am. It's legal for us to boycott America. It's against the law for us to boycott other countries. So if I decided I didn't want to buy anything that was made in China, I'm going to go to jail? What are you talking about? What? I'm boycotting. Okay, as of right now, because of what's going on in the world, I'm not going to buy anything made in the USSR. Okay. Where are the cuffs? What are you talking about? It's legal for us to boycott America. It is against the law for us to boycott other countries. Okay. So I don't know what to tell you. Apparently, if you buy something made in China, that's fine. But if you don't, you're going to jail. Okay. I have no idea what you're talking about there, buddy. Boycotting the country is when you work to have laws changed. Other countries' laws? We can't go against other countries and try to change their laws. That's none of our business. I love how people are complaining about freedom of speech in the USA, but what about Russia? Countries we are allied with. Once again, you could lose your business license if you have one. Okay. Well, that's great. I'll make sure when I open my own business that I buy things from other countries only. Never buy American, especially in America, because it's illegal or something. All right. Let's see. One of the things with the whole freedom of speech thing that drives me nuts, always with all of these douche hammers, is when you see all these videos online where they talk about the cops are going against their rights and against their freedom of speech. They're making the video. They're talking in the video. They're posting the video. How did they violate your rights? Oh, because they asked you what you were doing. And they can't do that. Nope. That's against the law. What's up, Adrian? I think I just bought American. I think I have hear a chopper near me. Yep. Better not buy anything made in America because you'll go to jail, according to somebody in the chat. I don't know what they're talking about. Remember what Mark Twain said, don't argue with stupid people. They'll bring you to their level and beat you with experience. Yep. But only American boycott for auditors. Buy only American? Boycott for auditors? That's not what I said. No, that's fine. We're trying to understand what you're saying. You're talking about if you're a company and you refuse to buy products that aren't made in America, that you're going to jail? I don't know. There's a lot of companies that are only American-made stuff, right? Like, I think Harley Davidson's still American-made, so they're all going to go to jail. I don't know. Did you see a bit of Dr. Dave? I was bouncing back and forth between that and I think Mike was on at the same time, or a government employee. Yeah, Dr. Dave and Mike had their live stream at the same time, so I kind of bounced back and forth between the two. So yeah, I guess. All right, Axiom, I'm trying to understand what you're saying. I really am, but I don't. Maybe because in the chat there's a bunch of other stuff going on and it's hard for me to follow, but I really don't know what you're trying to say. Anti-BDS laws. All right. Let's look that up real quick. Anti-BDS laws are the Israeli Anti-Boycott Act. Was proposed anti-BDS law, an amendment to the Export Administration Act of 1979, designed to allow U.S. states to enact laws requiring contractors to sign pledges promising not to boycott any goods from Israel, or their contracts would be terminated. Oh, okay. No, stop them. Don't do it. I'm really trying hard not to be called a racist. Okay, so what exactly does a specific company not boycotting a specific product from a specific company? Yeah, if that was true, Dollar Store would be closed. No, like, okay, I think now that I've read that, I have a little bit better understanding of what you're saying, but it's a contractual thing. What does that have to do with going to jail or even paying a fine? They just would lose that particular contract. Yeah, you would just lose your contract. Let's see. Let's look a little deeper into this. Let's see. Of course, the ASPCA wants me to give them money. I don't know what that has to do with this. I love animals, but come on now. Sorry, just reading. Okay. Yeah. Boycotting the birthright of an American is Boston Tea Party. It's free speech. All companies and government employees. Boycotting is the birthright. It's free speech. Okay. So I get it now. It took me a minute to catch up. And although I do understand why some people think it's a bad idea and some think it's a good idea, I think it really does depend on your point of view. I mean, ultimately, it seems like the people who are for those laws are people who see those laws as being anti-Semitic, and the people who are against the laws are the ones who are seeing it as being kind of like what you're saying, It's taking away our freedom to boycott whoever we want. Arresting Russian motor yachts. The Ninth Amendment says you cannot write laws against our speech. Right. Again, I'm saying things right now. I'm not being arrested for it. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen anyone. I mean, I know it has happened within the history of our country, but all of the people who are claiming that the government took away or is taking away our free speech, I've never seen any of them get arrested for speaking. I mean, you know, like you could say that freedom of speech is absolute, and there could be an argument made that that's not true, and that's a different level. In other words, like one person will say, well, you can't yell fire in a theater. And then someone will say, but if you could say anything and free speech is absolute, then you should be allowed to say fire in a theater. Okay, but then you're going to get arrested for causing a riot and a panic, and whoever got trampled by the people that were running out the door because they thought there was a fire. Like, that's why they don't want you to say that. It's not because they're trying to control you and what you say just to do it because they're evil. They're Nazis. It's because when you do that, people panic, they run, they freak out, people get hurt, people die. Like, that's why they don't want you to say that. It's the same thing, once again, as always, like with these frauditors. Like, walk up to somebody on the street and say, hey, screw you, you're a piece of crap, man. Okay. I remind you of Jack Black. Oh, the greatest song in the world. But I love Jack Black, man. He's funny as hell. What was I gonna say? See, now you threw me off because I'm thinking about Jack Black. He was funny. You need to tell Florida that they just put laws against the frauditors that harass police. Oh, right. Yes. Frauditors harassing the cops. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, this is the point I was trying to make. If you're one of these people who goes up to someone and says horrible, terrible things to the person, and what happens? Maybe they'll smack the camera out of your hand. Oh, that person violated my free speech because they were offended when I said something offensive on purpose to offend them. How about you get punched in the head? Would that be offensive? But I could say whatever I want. Yeah, you know what? Legally, you can. You're not going to go to jail for saying that, but you're going to get your ass beat by the person you said it to, unless you're shoving a camera in their face and they don't want evidence on film of them beating your ass. Although that happens sometimes too. It happened to Casey Camera Boy and it happened to Silence Boy. So who knows? Maybe there is some justice in the world after all. You know, maybe people are getting tired of these frauditors. They're going to start smacking them around a little bit more. If you didn't have the camera, you couldn't talk to people like that without getting your ass kicked on a daily. But what about freedom of speech? What about it? Nobody's telling them they're going to go to jail for saying these things. None of these guys have ever been arrested for saying anything, ever. Frauditors need a lot of learning. Because I'm like the video I'm working on right now, it isn't done yet because I got 3 different clips from it. And some of it I start watching and it's so bad. I have to stop and take a break for a few minutes because it's like, and I want to break in every 2 seconds. And I got to take more control of myself when it comes to that. Like, not just like every time they start talking, pause and say, he just said this is wrong. Oh, because I get so mad at some of the things they say. I got this piece right here. Well, good. No more 1As in Utah. Great. Sounds good to me. They're also trying to pass laws to limit it in other places. But you know what, Axiom, let me tell you something seriously. I don't know what the Utah law is. I'll look that up later. But this is one of my biggest beefs. Hold on. I'm looking at myself here, and my hat's kind of making me look like a troll or a toad or a trode or a chode or something. Sorry about that. Anyway, so one of the reasons why I am so against what these guys are doing is because they speak like what they're trying to do, their goal is to fight for our rights. But all of these different laws and resolutions that all these different places, I just covered one about Arizona where they're trying to pass a law to make it harder to film. It's not like the government was trying to pass these laws and these guys are fighting against it. The government's trying to pass these laws because these idiots are doing what they're doing, and there's nothing the cops can do. How many frauditor videos end with nothing happening and the cops doing the walk of shame? It's garbage. It's crap. It's nonsense. And why? Because nothing happened. I know you're not defending auditors, but it's this. They make the same arguments. It's the same arguments. They're going to kill 1A auditors with kindness. You have to break in often not to get copyright strikes. I'll tell you what. Yeah, no, I definitely I have to put my 2 cents in. I get that, and I do. But the problem is that it gets to a point where it's like I watch the video and then they say something stupid and I pause it and I say my bit and then I press play and then they say something stupid and I pause it and you end up having a 2-hour video that has more of me talking than of them. So I have to pull it back a little and say, okay, I look at it more as giving my audience a little bit of credit to being able to recognize, like, here's this guy saying something stupid. Listen for yourself and hear how stupid this idiot is. You don't need me to point out to you that what he just said was stupid. But if he just said something that's literally factually incorrect, I could point out this is wrong. Or if he says something that is extremely offensive, I could say, look at what that idiot just said. Or a flat out lie, which is 90% of what they say. Yes, frauditors are bad because they're frauds. Exactly. Anyway, the video I'm working on now, it's this, who is this guy? What's his name? Oh, yeah. Frickin' media. It's a video where it's like, I got it cut down to like 8 minutes, but the video's like over half an hour long. He audits a library. Nothing happens. They pass the audit? No. Let's just go audit something else. So now they're literally walking down the street, auditing the street. And they keep pointing their cameras at people's cars as they drive by and pointing their cameras at people, looking for a reaction, looking for a reaction, looking for a reaction. Nothing, 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 nothing. This goes on for almost 40 minutes until finally they find a couple guys chilling, having a cigarette. They point their camera at them, and one of them says, hey, what are you guys doing? That's it. It's on. Now the camera's going to zoom in on that guy and stay zoomed in on him until the cops show up. And he's just going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it until the cops come. And you even hear his buddy saying, maybe we'll get a cops interaction after all. And then the cops show up and they don't do anything. They talk to the guys that they were filming. They tell them, well, as long as they're not trespassing, they're allowed to do it. Great. Audit passed. The cops came, told the guy they have the right to do it. Done, right? Wrong. So what happens after that? They say, hey, let's go stand in front of the squad car while he's trying to pull away. So then they jump in front of the squad car. And then they say, hey, give me your name and badge number. You almost hit me with your car. You almost hit me with your car. Give me your name and badge number now, buddy. So then the cop just leaves. So now, okay, the interaction's done. They didn't get a bad reaction from the cops. So what are they going to do? There was a second squad car there. So they turn their camera around while that cop is backing up nice and slow. See, he's running away. He's running away because he's afraid of cameras. That's why he's running. And I mean, he's backing up at like less than 1 mile an hour. And freaking media is painting it like, see, he's scared of cameras and that's why he's running. Yeah. How about the cops didn't take the bait? How about the cops passed the audit? How about you didn't get arrested? They didn't even talk to you. They didn't try to ID you. They didn't even get out of their cars. So you still got to give them a hard time. But we're supposed to believe that you're out there for a legitimate reason, trying to educate people. It's so blatantly a lie. It's part of what Utah is talking about, having music playing in government buildings. Yeah, that'd be nice. To get them copyright strikes on purpose. Yeah. Well, I always said, like, I wish that I knew where they were going to be before they were going to be there, so that I could show up and walk right up to them with my camera and flip it all on them. Hey, dude, back up. Oh, now you're telling me where to stand? This is a public place. I could stand where I want. All I'm doing is exercising my First Amendment right to film in public. No, bro, man, you're giving me a hard time because I'm doing that. No, I'm the one doing that. I have the First Amendment right to film, and I choose to film you. And I'm going to stand right here, whether you like it or not, because I have the right to stand wherever I want in public. This is a public place, isn't it? Turn everything around on them and just keep flipping it on them. I know their script so well, I could just flip it on them. Everything they say, I could just respond with something they would say and just keep flipping it on. Oh, I would love to do that to one of these guys. Oh, I'm telling you. And then film it. That would be my first video to go viral. LNH, that's part of what makes Utah is talking about. Okay, yeah, I read that. Becoming a real 1AA. The good 1AA. Yeah, right? Stay out of kicking distance. If they touch me, I could get them for assault. It's assault. He assaulted me. He touched me. They want to do that all the time. Well, I can do that too. I'll take a beating if it locks one of these idiots up. Sooner or later, these people will be held accountable. Yeah, they're working on it. Megadeth. Okay, see now, Axiom, now you're going to start talking about stuff that I agree with. I'll tell you what, let's get into that. Megadeth. All right, let me tell you something about Megadeth. All right, the best way I could possibly say it, I think, would this. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. In my opinion, the beef between Metallica and Megadeth is done. And in my opinion, Metallica has some albums that are better than any Megadeth album. But Megadeth, when you look at their entire catalog now, Megadeth has way more good albums than Metallica. Metallica has 3, 4, maybe 5 great albums, and all the rest are garbage. While Megadeth maintain a high standard all of these years. All of their albums are good. So, in my opinion, Megadeth won in the end. Whether it was, depending on whose side of the story you want to listen to, Dave Mustaine's dog attacked James Hetfield, and Hetfield was defending himself. If you listen to, Dave Mustaine's version, it's that his dog was just jumping up to say hi, and James Hetfield kicked his dog, and ain't nobody going to kick my dog, so he punched James Hetfield in the face, and that was their whole beef, or at least how it all started. Dave wrote the best Metallica music. Yeah, pretty much. That's extremely difficult to disagree with that. But anyway, last time I did a live stream, I ended up devolving into music chat, which is fine with me. I could just start doing live streams about music. I could talk forever about music. So, hey, finally, me and Axiom agree on something. Excellent. Hey, see, we're all human after all in the end, right? Now imagine if Broken System, Broken Trust came in here. We wouldn't be able to agree on a damn thing. And we would just argue and argue and argue and argue and argue, and nobody would learn nothing. Except for I'd learn that he's a bigger idiot than I thought. Which I don't know if that's possible. Anyway, I pretty much covered everything I wanted to talk about. And again, the main thing is I wanted to show this off because I got it from Kick himself. It was a gift. Thank you, Kick, again for that. Let's see. Anything anyone else wants to talk about or anything before we wrap this up? Any questions, comments, concerns, recommendations, requests for my future videos, games? Any fun thing you want to do? It's not that late. I still got a while. Speaking of assholes slapping others, Will Smith. Okay, here, let me ask you guys your opinion on this. I already found a green screen of Will Smith slapping somebody, and I want to try because I'm working on the freaking media video, I want to try and make it look like Will Smith is slapping freaking media. But I don't know if that would be funny or if that would be like that's already a joke that's gone too far in one day. You agree with me on the political things I say. Also, you just don't fully understand the entire story yet. What Smith did was wrong. Do more's in the future videos. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for the trial. I want the Moors to have their big trial so I could cover that. Because in the meantime, all the other stuff, there's really nothing else too exciting going on with the Moors. It's the same stuff that's been covered a billion times. Like the big thing is going to be when they go to court. Did you see how much of a POS Dr. Dave is? Freaking media is the man. Freaking media is a freaking idiot. Will had to hold his smile back. Yeah, he looked like he was real happy to have done that. The whole Dr. Dave thing and the Irish Demon and all that. There's been something going on with Dr. Dave for a while now. I haven't really been following it that close because talk to Walt, Law Talk with Mike about where to get a fez. I used to have a fez, but then my tassel fell off and then I lost the hat. So I don't know. I could get another one. It's not hard to find a fez. If you just search fez on Amazon, they got a billion of them. And the price range goes from, a couple dollars to like really nice fancy ones are really expensive. Let's see. Is it some weirdo stuff? He made a vid on me before. Seems weird, ignorant at best. Yeah, honestly, like I said, I haven't been following much of that, the whole Dr. Dave situation, because I don't know anything about it. And if you hear one side of the story and then you hear another side of the story from both parties that are involved, the truth is going to lie somewhere in the middle. And it's honestly none of my business unless, something comes out on one of their streams that they make public. But other than that, I really have no information. It's not like the whole Virgo triad thing when she got completely tore up by Kate at the masshole. Cardboard and red felt. Yeah, there you go. Make your own fez. You just cut the tassel off your high school graduation cap and glue it on there, and you're all set. It's a good hat over by there. All right, so I think I'm almost out of juice too. Okay. Will don't like that free speech either. Triggered from a joke. What a joke. Speaking of hats, what happened to the Perry the Platypus? Okay, Alan H., if you weren't here earlier, the reason why I'm wearing this is I did an unboxing today. This isn't a Kick hat that I bought. Kick himself sent me this hat, so it's special. So I unboxed it, and I said I'm going to wear it for the rest of the stream. And Kick was in here when I opened it, so that was really cool. Real tassel with a fake fez. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I still got my Perry hats. Never get rid of those. That's my thing. It's just today because I just got this. I'm wearing this for today's stream. to celebrate the goodness of Mr. Kick to give me this as a gift. He's a good guy. Let's see. What else have we got? He made a video about you. Okay. That is a nice hat. This actually, and I was very surprised because when I opened it, baseball caps usually, I got a big head, and baseball caps usually are extremely tight on me, and I have to go all the way to the very last, hole on there to make them fit my head. This thing, I got it pretty tight. I got it like on the fourth or fifth hole, and it's a little loose. It's perfect. I love it. This is a hat that I actually can wear. Special hats. Can you call me Gandalf? Axiom, that would be an absolute compliment. Gandalf, man, he's the best. And I actually used to have, when I was younger, I actually had, I called it my Gandalf. I made it myself, but it was a pipe, but it was one of those long pipes where like I would hold it here and it'd be in my mouth like it was. I used to call that my Gandalf. So I always liked being associated with him. He's a good guy. Good to know. I got a big old head myself. Yep. Here, I'll even look at this. Let me show you for comparison's sake. Hold on. Let me get my other baseball cap. Hold on. Dang nabbit. Try not to leave too much during a live stream, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. So look at this. I'm not trying to dog Axiom. If you're talking to me, like I said earlier, like even though we might not agree on politics 100%, it seems to me like you're a good guy. I'm cool with you. See, this is my regular hat. See how I got it on the very last one, and that barely can get it on my head. I have to squeeze it on. See how tight that is? Look. See, and that's all the way on the very last one, right? Now look at my new kick hat. What am I, 4 deep on there? And boom. And it's still kind of loose. Look, see? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I actually like that a lot. In fact, I might even be able to make it one tighter than that. Like, this is a great hat. And it's comfortable because it's not too tight. It doesn't feel like it's squeezing my head. Do I have a post office box? No, but I have like Kick. I mean, obviously, I trusted him to give him my address here. But if you want to send me something, we could figure something out. We could get in touch. You could email me. My email's on my SovCit@gmail.com. Easy peasy. I've never been able to obtain anything except for the last hole in the back. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is a quality hat, man. Like, this is good stuff. I'm going to have to figure out what that sticker is. I don't know if I need to remove that. So I think I'm going to retire this thing. I barely ever wear it anyway. I generally don't go out in public with my Perry hat. My winter one I did when it was cold because it's actually a warm hat. But this one, I haven't wore it outside yet, my new one. But this, I'm going to be wearing this sucker all the time. I'm probably going to wear this thing out fast because it's great. I love it. Best feeling baseball cap I've had. So it's not just because it says Kick on it, but it's actually a quality hat. So I know Kick knows I have a fat head. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I was deep in the hole in the 80s. I loved the women of the 80s. Okay. I know I got lost there. Used to play through the 70s. You wear that goofy hat outside this summer, I can guarantee you're going to throw a net over you. Well, that almost makes me want to wear it. That's funny. Yeah. I don't know, man. I still don't know how I feel about it because Team Skeptic told me that I should do something fun with it, like make it a super chat thing. Like I'll wear this for a certain amount of time every time I get a super. I don't know. but that was his idea. I'm still not sure what I want to do for that, because like I like the idea, like when you watch who's that cat? We better get kicked to send another. Blue Bacon. Like he does those bits where like he gets a super chat, he takes a drink or spins the wheel to see if he needs to take a drink, like having fun with it, having games with it. So I've been thinking if there's anything like that I could do on my streams. Because at this point, wait, you wear that goofy hat outside the summer, I can guarantee they'll throw a net over you and take you away. Yeah, they're coming to take me away. Ha ha, they're coming to take me away. Ho ho, ha ha, to the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time. I can't wait for those nice young men in their big white coats, and they're coming to take me away. Repeat. To the funny farm. Yeah, I used to have that on vinyl when I was a kid, and it was cool because like there were some records, and a lot of people, I think, I don't know if a lot of you guys know this, but I actually wore out my original Sgt. Pepper, because when you listen to the CD at the end of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, at the very end, it makes this weird noise, and then you hear like, we're never to see any, we're never to see any. I don't even know what they're saying. It sounds like never to see any other, but I don't know. But it keeps repeating it, and then it fades out. But when I had the original vinyl when I was a kid, the very last circle of the record was a complete circle, so that it never ended. It just repeated that forever until you lifted the needle. Never to see any other, never to see any other, never to see, and it would just go forever. And the record literally never ended unless you lifted the needle. That was such a great idea. I mean, everything about that album was a great idea, but to make the album literally never end, but by doing that, and I let it play for a long time, trying to see if it would end, and it never did. Now that part's kind of wore out. Like if I dug out that old record today and played it, when it gets to that part, it gets all like, and it sounds terrible. Your dad said not to pay attention to it. Your dad loved the Beatles. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because it was just, like I said, I think it was just the idea. There was so much to that album, and it was so conceptual. I get what you're saying now, Adrian. Not sure if you saw, I did a lyric video that called Weep Jeremiah. Can you watch it sometime and see if I did okay? Not asking you to react, just your opinion. Yeah, let's I'll put that in my watch later thing here so that I won't forget. What am I looking for? What's the name of the video? Or can you drop a link? And then I got high, and then I got high, and then I got high. I was gonna tell off the frauditors, but then I got high. I was gonna get stopped by a cop and not give him my license, but then I got high. I was gonna say that I'm not a U.S. citizen, I'm a U.S. national, but then I got high. I was gonna misquote Poster 7, but then I got high. Man, I should probably do that. Any questions? Just ask. Oh, yeah, because he's Weedskador, so he can answer all your questions about that. Oh, that's great. Hey, man, I was young in the 90s, so the 90s were my 60s. Let's just put it that way. Afro Man. Yep. I have a question. Who's going to eat the egg? Which egg? Because it's Easter? Respect. Let's see what else we got. Playing records with needles. Be careful, you're aging yourself. I used to call them a Victrola. Well, I was a DJ in the 90s, so I actually had to become a needle expert because I was cracking them left and right trying to scratch. So I learned real quick the difference in needles, and now I won't play any record with a bad needle. Oh, the egg from the Who's gonna eat the egg? This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. And then yeah, I remember that. Let's just say that was a public service commercial back in the day, trying to get all the kids to say no to drugs during the anti-drug campaign at Reagan and all those guys. That was definitely something else altogether. All together now. Since we were on that subject. All right. What do you want to do? You want to do music trivia? Ask me something about the Beatles and see if I don't know the answer. Or let's see, who else would I be able to do that with? Let's see. Hold on. I'm gonna go back to the kick phase for a minute here since I got the hat still. And some of you didn't see it. You came in late. And it was Kick who told me like this was a good idea. Hold on. You disgust me. My 60s were the 60s. Yeah, man. I guess I'm young, but I'm old at the same time. I was born in 73, so I have no idea. That's great. I asked him, I don't know how he does this because when you breathe through the mask, the air goes up and it fogs your glasses. So I don't know how Kick does it. And he's like, it's not easy. It is interesting though, seeing myself looking like him with his hat. There you go. Anyway, I don't want it to seem like I'm making fun of the guy. He knows I'm doing it out of respect, but let's see. I hate Maskey. Are you talking about like conspiracy theories or legitimately? Because there's no goats on there. I totally agree. Who was Sergeant Pepper? Well, he was the leader of Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. It was his Hearts Club Band. You mean in the picture or like literally or metaphorically? I thought you were going to ask me about their music. I mean, with their album covers, I know all about the whole bit with the hints at the this is the hat. With the hints about like Paul McCartney dying or whatever, but that's all obviously nonsense. Sergeant Pepper. Oh, well, yeah, I know Aleister Crowley's on the cover of Sergeant Pepper. I thought you said Magical Mystery Tour. That's why I was like, what? Yeah, you did. You said Magical Mystery Tour. That's why I didn't know what you were talking about. Yeah, Aleister Crowley definitely was on there. And but he was more of well, I mean, I don't want to get into that. Jimmy Page bought his castle and all that. Aleister Crowley was kind of a nut. Okay. No, you don't have to apologize, but at least it makes me feel better. Like I had no idea what you were talking about. I'm like, how could I not know something? It's like, oh, wrong record. Yeah. Kinda. Well, see, now if you want to get into his philosophy, that's a whole thing. We could do a whole feed just about that. But he was a nut. Aleister Crowley was a nut. A big pyramid on his head and with the eye. Yeah, whatever. Illuminati, all that. Yeah, he believed in all that nonsense. And then you had to. Well, I'm not going to get into Crowley because that dude is like, I studied that stuff for a while when I was younger. I'm like, oh, wow, this is fascinating. And then, like, as I started reading more and more of it, I realized, like, whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, yeah. He was kind of crazy. I mean, some of the basic ideas of some of the things he said kind of made a little bit of sense, which I think kind of like if you read, like, I actually read when I was younger, sat down and read Dianetics, and I can see how people can read that and based on that alone think, oh, this L. Ron Hubbard's onto something, man. Let me study him further. And then that's how it sucks you in. And you end up getting, that whole thing with Scientology and all that. But I kind of got the same thing from some of what Aleister Crowley said, because there are a couple basic principles of his that actually kind of make sense. So then you think, oh, well, let me look a little deeper into this. And if you're already hooked, then you start getting into the craziness and people start believing it. Like, one of the things that he said that got me intrigued with him in the first place, before I realized, he was a nut, is the idea that, like, magic, which he spelled with a K, because that's different than magic is real. And it's real because, say, for example, you decide, I've been on here for over 2 hours, so now we're just chatting. I did the stuff I wanted to do. If you just got here, I'm wearing this Kick hat because I got it from Kick. He gave me this personally, and he was in here earlier when I did the unboxing of it. So that was good. And then we talked about this dude that was a sovereign citizen guru back in the 80s. We showed a couple of his videos, and now we're just shooting the shit. But so anyway, he said magic is real. And he was explaining how, like, say, for example, if you decide in your head that you want a lighter, you can make that happen. Well, all you have to do is grab a lighter. And now your dream, your wish came true. So now just apply that same philosophy to money, to houses, to anything. And at first it was like, oh yeah, I took it like a motivational thing. Like, he's trying to say, if you put your mind to it, you could accomplish anything. That's what I got out of it. But then that's what made me research him deeper. And the more I researched Aleister Crowley, the more I realized this guy's a nut. He's an absolute nut. Oh man. Dr. Diggs' stream just ended. Yeah, I saw you in there earlier, actually. Welcome back. Let's see. You have a birthday coming soon. Dr. Dave just ended his stream. Yeah, well, like I said, at this point, we're just chit-chatting, hanging out, having some fun. I covered all the stuff I wanted to. One in front of me, still no money, though. Am I doing it right? What are you talking about? What is she saying? I always get lost in the chat when I'm trying to follow, and more than one people are having different conversations. I get confused. Dr. Dave was watching that. Sonia. Oh, you were asking if she has a birthday coming soon. It was the Goat Boy. Yeah, had to be there. That's fine. I know. Yeah, but so other than that, like I said, anything else? Aleister Crowley was a child. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was. He was one of those, what do they call them? The NAMBLA guys that thought that magic came from doing things with children. Yeah, it was. That's how you get your power. In fact, one of the things that he taught, and I actually saw. Well, I don't even want to get into that because then that gets into like almost like conspiracy theory territory. However, what Aleister Crowley wanted to do was, he said that if you wanted to be like to prove yourself to him and to the powers of evil in the universe, to give you your powers so that you can be evil and control the world through your magic powers, was you have to do. This guy was such a nut. He said that what you have to do is the exact opposite of what they do in church, right? Because so the whole point of, in the Christian faith, specifically with the Catholics, the whole point is to have the host, right? To get the communion, and the wafer to show your dedication to Jesus, and to commune. It's called communion, to commune with Christ by eating the wafer, right? So Aleister Crowley's thing was, well, you have to do the same thing, but you're doing it to commune with the devil. So the wafer has to be made out of flour, salt, female menstrual blood, and the blood of an intelligent man under the age of 11, and it doesn't matter how you get it. The guy was a lunatic, man. He was nuts. What else we got? Anybody else? Oh, all right. Good night. Wait, before did Prince leave already? I wanted you to send me a link to that video you were talking about. Adrian's off. All right, Mr. Shadow Kitty, you're sad and green. Are you doing that because of your reaction to Aleister Crowley, or just in general? That's ew, gross. Yes, very, very gross. There's here. Let's see if I can. Didn't they call the wafer the body of? Yeah, that's what we call it, the body of Christ. Yes, but that's not what Aleister Crowley called it. No, sir. Let's see. I got a thing here. That dude was so crazy. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what it was called exactly. See, there's all these. I'm trying to remember what it was exactly. This dude was so nuts, man. All right. Anyway, that's enough of that. I'm going to get into that whole thing. And the wine and his blood. All right. All right, Prince. I'll definitely check that out. Looking forward to it. Menstrual blood is not yummy. Yeah, that's disgusting. The way they chant is very like. They sound like a cult. The followers of Aleister Crowley sound like a cult. The dude was a Satanist. Of course, it's a cult. Yeah, horrible, horrible person. And he definitely did some crazy stuff. Now, from what I understand, the whole reason the whole Aleister Crowley discussion came up in the first place was because he was on the cover of the Sgt. Pepper record, and there was a lot of controversy about some of the people who appeared on there. They wanted Hitler to be on there, but the studio would not allow them to put him on there because they thought people might misunderstand. The idea, from the way I understand it, is they wanted people in the audience to be people that had like something wrong in their head, that they needed to hear this music. Like, that was the idea. Like, these are the people that would be at the Sgt. Pepper concert, hopefully to open their minds and to teach them, about peace and love and all that good stuff. But yeah, no, he didn't write the Satanic Bible. That was I don't know. I know, but I don't know. It's on the tip of my tongue, right? It sounds like Sunday Mass. Well, that's the idea, is the devil worshippers were trying to do a satanic mass, so they wanted to purposely go out of their way to blaspheme the Sunday Mass. Like, that was the goal, was to make it as blasphemous towards a legitimate mass as possible. And that's why they do all the same things, but they do it in a twisted way. Yeah, bad stuff. Man. Sorry. Well, yeah, again, they didn't want people to. Anton LaVey. Yes. That was the name of the guy who wrote the Satanic Bible. Yes. That guy was another one who was just off his rocker. The record company also searched on Jesus and Gandhi. Yeah, again, they didn't want people to get the wrong idea. I think they were promoting a religion. The entertainment industry has always been, right? Like, you can't say, like, well, now they're doing this and doing that. Well, look at what they were doing back then. They didn't want to offend anybody. My Huskies do that. Huskies are great. But it's got to be cold out, man. They love that cold. They love it. What's the time here right now? Is 10:42. That's what I'm saying. It's not that late. I was gonna wrap it up, but it seems like if you guys still want to chat, I'm here, and I'm not going to bed. On his deathbed, he denounced Satanism and acknowledged Christ. I heard that his last words were, "Oh, what have I done?" Like, yeah, they do everything they can completely opposite. Yep, black instead of white. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the same thing except the opposite. Again, they do it intentionally to be blasphemous. It's horrible. And not just that, but like, it's not just the idea of someone practicing something that's different or opposite, but it's the fact that it's specifically done to be, offensive to people who do it. Like, I don't know. LeVay was a freak too. Yeah, he was. He's old and he admits it. He knows it. It's no secret. 3:42 p.m. in New Zealand. Wow. So you're just getting your night started, and I'm wrapping mine up. That's pretty good. New Zealand. You ever been to any of the places where they filmed The Lord of the Rings? It's good stuff. So did you just get in here? For anyone who's just joining, if you're wondering why I'm wearing the Kick hat, it's I didn't buy it. It was given to me by Kick. It was a gift. I did an unboxing of it today. It was great. Very nice of him. And then, like I said, earlier, I covered everything I wanted to cover. I did the unboxing of the hat, and then I talked about this old sovereign citizen guru from the 80s and showed some of his videos. And now we're just chilling and chatting, just enjoying the evening. It's not too late. And I mean, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be watching Raw, and Raw sucks lately, so I'm not even going to bother watching that. I'm way more into AEW than WWE now. And other than wrestling, I don't really watch TV. Tomorrow's Tuesday. I might go to the movies. The movie theater down the street is only $5 on Tuesdays. Rocks. New Zealand Ricks rocks. Yes. That's a great hat. Thank you. Yes, it is. I love it. It's comfortable. It's perfect size. It's adjustable, and it's nice. It's nice. I love it. The pre-event dance New Zealanders do. All right. Do you mind if I, guys? All right. I'm going to put you on hold for a minute. I'm going to go grab a drink. I'll be right back. Here, let me put something on to entertain you while I'm gone, so that it's not just dead air. Let me find something. Okay. So what I'm thinking is, I will put on a video to one of my songs. Do you guys want to hear rock and roll, heavy metal, jazz, classical? What do you want? It'll be something that I wrote. Any requests? Any specific genre of music you'd like to hear? Nobody cares. I just want to play a different metal. All right, I'll play one of my metal songs that I wrote. Just don't put on Goat Boy. All right. Let me get this up, and then I'll go grab my drink, and then I will be back. And again, this is going to be me. I'm doing it. Well, I don't have a drum kit, so the drums are electric, but I played everything, and I programmed the drums. So let's see. Which one? Boom, 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 this one should be short enough, I think. Yeah, all right. So I'm going to put this on while I go make myself a cup of coffee, and I'll be right back. And again, I'm going to play a song that I wrote. It's an old heavy metal song I wrote back in the 90s. And it is... The song is called Oil Election. And I wrote it like right between like Bush and Obama around that time. I don't remember who was actually president. I think it was Obama, like when he first got elected, but I don't remember exactly because it was a while ago. What am I? Oh, yeah, get that out of there. Now let's put this in here. Hakuna Matata, such a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata, it ain't no passing phase. And then I also, besides writing the music, I also drew the artwork. So here we go. All right. My coffee isn't quite done yet, but at least that got me closer to where I need to be. Um, so anyway, yeah, that's I don't put a lot of that stuff on here because I'm trying to, I don't know, have a broader audience, I guess. Like heavy metal is a very niche genre. So like a lot of my metals, like in my intro music, I always use like the jazz stuff and the rock and roll, whatever, more mellow stuff that I've written. But most of my music actually is either metal or punk. Um, I took the hat off while I was making my coffee, but it's not done yet. It's still brewing. So, you guys want to hear something else while I finish up brewing my coffee, or want to do something else? Maybe because I got a lot of stuff on here that I've done that we could look at. Um, or does anyone want to see a preview of my next video, a sneak peek, just for my people who stayed with me this whole time? Bass and guitar for over 40 years. That's beautiful. Here, I'll give you guys a little taste of my next video. I'm not done. I'm still editing it, but I could show you what I got done so far because I like to give my live viewers a little something special, especially if you stuck with me this long. You deserve it. You've earned that at this point over by there. So let's see if I can get this to play for you guys. Boom, 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 boom. Always waiting for my computer to load everything all the time. I got no RAM. I need some more. Yeah, I've been playing guitar since I was 15. Probably started playing bass for the first time when I was like 20. So it's been a while, yeah. Uh, Before that, I had a broom and I pretended I was Jimmy Page. Okay. Let's see. This is almost done loading. All right. Let me see if I can get it to play for you guys on here. Yep. This would be the first time I've ever done this. If I can get it to work, showing you a clip from my new video while I'm still editing it. It isn't even done yet. Let's see. Share. Let me see if I can make this work. Yes, I can. Ooh. Let me see. All right. Here's a little sneak peek. Welcome back to the channel over by there. And today we got three little clips we're going to show you. The first one is Cricket Media. He's out there with a couple of his buddies. They're auditing a library. The library is just do what they do. They don't know what happens. So let's just do here. I'm going to cut a lot of it out, but just to show how this whole thing gets set up. So he goes from the library and then nothing happens. So he goes outside. He keeps going outside. And then finally he sees these two dudes that are standing taking a smoke break from their job. And one of the guys says, "Hey, you guys do it." And that's it. That's all we needed to get him triggered. Okay, this guy doesn't like this filming, so let's go out of our way to go get even more. And then you can hear one of his buddies in the background say, No, it's a pun. It's making fun of people that say that the government is the criminals and the cops are the criminals. And the criminals are innocent. And then after that, I got a couple more clips I want to show, but let's get started right off the top. Wait a minute. The name was supposed to be sarcastic. Because, all right, whenever these guys talk to the cops, they always tell the cops, kick rocks, kick rocks. So he came up with the name because it's kick. And when people like kick, they say, kick rocks. Like, he rocks, he's cool, kick rocks. So like when they tell the cops to kick rocks, it's like, oh, you're saying kick rocks, yeah, because I'm up there. So he makes one of those people. Like it's a joke. No, that's the point. The people say it to the cops. The people that we make the videos about are always telling the cops, go kick rocks, go kick rocks. So now every time they speak, they're assholes. Walk away. Kick rocks. Walk away. Walk away. Go away. Man, ready? Kick rocks, asshole. You're driving without a license. Kick rocks, asshole. Exactly. People were saying they couldn't hear it. The sound wasn't working, or what? It wasn't on at all, or it was too quiet, or what? Video choppy, is that from the original? No, that's the thing. I'm not done editing it yet. I was just trying to, while I was making coffee, I was trying to give you guys a little sneak peek of my next video. I thought it'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I'm not done editing it yet. That's just the beginning. So, well, anyway, can you hear me now that I'm back? No? Yes, maybe. Ba-dum-bum. Alrighty then. Gotta love it. So I've been playing this whole time with no sound while I was making my coffee. Well, at least I got a nice coffee cup. Resume the party. I'm here. Can you hear me? That's the question. I guess I've been having some audio issues. Anything? Anyone? No. Wait. Hold on. All right. Sorry about that. I still have no answer if you can hear me. Hello. Can you hear me? Do we want to hear you? Can hear fine. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. All right, thank you very much. Oh yeah, that was terrible. I just realized that. What? Can you hear me? What? What did the blind man say to the deaf mute? I can't. What? All right. So, what else? Anything else anyone wants to talk about specifically today? Or oh, you want coffee now? This is good. It's on a Starbucks cup, but it's not Starbucks coffee. I just made it. But I liked in fall they always bring out the pumpkin flavored coffees, and a few days ago I was in this joint down. See, if you're not from Florida, I never heard of this before I came down here, but it's called Publix, and or no, was it Winn Dixie? Whatever. One of those places out here, they had because fall's over, they were getting rid of all the pumpkin coffee, so they had this big, huge box of the K cups of pumpkin for like $4. They're trying to get rid of them, so I'm going pumpkin crazy. I love my pumpkin flavored coffee. That's my favorite one. And that and at Christmas time, I like to do the peppermint macchiatos. Piggly Wiggly, we had those in Wisconsin. Yeah, we have those in Wisconsin. We had them when I was in Wisconsin. Now here it's all Publix and Wawa. And the first time I heard it, I thought it was a joke. My mom's like, "Oh, we got to go to Wawa." I'm like, "Yeah, no. What's the name of the place? It's called Wawa. Like it's actually spelled Wawa. It's Wawa, and they got the best prices, by the way. Wawa is amazing. Whatever is that what you tell the judge? I was drunk in a bar and they threw me in a Publix, and they threw me in public. You are accused of drunk in public. Well, I was drunk in a bar. They threw me into public. I want to be drunk in a bar. Veggie coffee. Oh, yeah. Okay. JR and Piggly Wiggly when I was there. Yep. Let's see. Anyway, hello, Hank, again. Mystery SovCit Theater. Always good to have you around. Yeah. So, like I said, again, for anyone who's just joining, so far what we've done tonight is I got this from Kick. He gave me this as a gift. So that's why I'm wearing it, because I just got it today. I unboxed it earlier. And then after that, I showed some videos from this old sovereign citizen guru from the 80s. And then I got all that out of the way, and now we're just hanging out, just talking. We've been talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. First, we were talking about Beatles, and then that led to, because Aleister Crowley was on the Sgt. Pepper album cover, we started talking about him, and then we got into this whole thing. And then, what does Hezokai mean? It doesn't actually mean anything. What happened was, when I was younger and I first started playing World of Warcraft, you had to come up with a name for a character, and I just wanted an original name that sounded like something otherworldly or fantasy. And so I just kept, thinking of different words and combination of words. And when I came up with that one, I felt like it sounded like some kind of, what was it? I thought it sounded like a, ancient samurai warrior name, like Zokai. That was how I pronounced it in my head. But that's all it is. It's just the name of my Warcraft character. I started this channel over 10 years ago, so that was the name I used, and that's what I am now. So there you go. Axion is a BA name. I like it. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been catching on. More and more people are getting used to it. What is this? I'm sorry, my phone was just yeah, my phone was just chirping at me. I want to make sure it isn't anything important. Yes, last night it chirped at me to tell me that Chris Rock got slapped in the face. Gee, like I didn't already know by then. So means little guy who quiet means pee. That's hilarious. I like that. I think it was Script Cat who called me when I did the video on the Moors and I had my fez on, she called me Fezokai. And then I thought I wanted to start a band that only wrote songs about sovereign citizens and frauditors called Fezokai and the Bootlickers. But the problem with bootlickers is, since that's an insult, like, I mean it like, you know, in a sarcastic way, but people might take that the wrong way and think I'm actually calling people bootlickers as opposed to like embracing, like, yeah, you know. Anyway, let's see. A bunch of actors telling jokes and one actor slaps the other actor. Sure sounds like acting to me. Yeah. Yeah, the tone was still. I saw it live. I didn't. There was nothing to let me know that I was the last person to hear it. By now, everybody's heard it. Like I said, I was in the video I'm editing right now that I started showing you. I was actually going to put a joke about that in there, but now it's almost been done too much. Like, everybody's been talking about it, like nothing else. Yeah, it was. You know, since Vince McMahon got in that argument on SportsCenter or whatever it was with Bob, not Bob Odenkirk, Bob, I don't know, the baseball guy. And then he started doing football, and then he started doing the Olympics, NBC. Chris Rock can take a punch better than Will Smith can take a punch line. That was awesome. That was awesome. If that was real, Will Smith would have been arrested. There are some people who think that it was set up because, you know, the ratings weren't doing too good. So they're like, we got to do something to get people talking about this. When I was a kid, the Oscars were like the coolest thing. Now it's like, oh, the Oscars are on? I didn't even know. I don't care. Who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the stupid award shows. Except for the Sovereign Citizen Awards, which the 2022 Sovereign Citizen Awards is going to be great. That's always in the background. No matter what videos I'm working on, I'm always doing little bits and pieces of that, building it up and building it up. It's going to be a banger, guys. You're going to love it. And the Oscars are bad enough, but the Grammys now, those also have just fallen completely into the. Our parents were hooked on award shows, always. Dune one. I didn't see the new Dune, but I did hear it was great. So I don't know. I got scared after because I love, but the old Dune, I can't stick up for it. I mean, there's certain bits and pieces of it that are great, but SovCit Awards. How many? Oh, well, that's okay. How many awards will Delete Laws go for? Well, that's one of the reasons why I haven't done it yet, because it seems like there's something new every day that I could put in with him. And so, like, I gotta, like, maybe make a special Sovereign Citizen of the Year award or something for him. Is the remake better than the original? That depends. I haven't seen the remake, but from what I hear, I've heard it's better. But oh, you know what? I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. Now I know why my phone was chirping. It's my kids; they're calling me. So I always take a call from my kids. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you for joining me. It was a great time. Yeah, see, there they go. All right, take it easy, guys. Peace.